On the record. Now, if there are no more points of order, Wendy Morton.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. At the start of this afternoon, I sat through Prime Minister's questions, and I didn't really have any intention of taking part in this Opposition Day debate. I quite often do take part in what we call Oppo Day debates, but there were other commitments and things in the draft. This is not a point of order. I was asked to speak, wasn't I?
You were.
Yes. The officials are looking rather. Yes. The officials are looking rather perplexed at me here. Yes. So at the start of today, I had no intention to speak in this debate, but I sat through Prime Minister's questions, and I listened to the Leader of the Opposition asking the Prime Minister direct questions, and with each question that went by, it was quite simple to me that there were more questions that were simply being answered, and there was an attempt by the government to simply sweep this issue to the side and to deflect to other matters around the periphery. So, I want to first of all come to the humble address. Now, I've not been in this place as long as some of my vintage colleagues here, and I say that in a very kind way. But I have a few scars to bear from my time as Chief Whip. I never lost a vote, mind. But the reason that I raise that is that I, like others in this place, know the significance of a humble address. A humble address is not used on a normal Opposition Day debate. It's used not as a regular occurrence, and it's not used lightly. It is used to indicate this is a very serious matter that we have brought to this House today. Initially, there were to be 2 debates, but because of the demand from this side of the House to have this issue debated and discussed through usual channels, it was agreed the debate would take all afternoon. And it's been on this side of the benches that the most amount of scrutiny has been happening. Yeah. But I pay tribute to those on the opposition benches who have come in and had the government benches, yes, thank you, I would say the decency to explain to their front bench how they feel about this important matter. Now, it was also highlighted earlier that about the issue of national security. Now, in opposition, the Prime Minister, when he was Shadow Brexit Secretary back in 2018, I remember those days well, he proposed 3 humble addresses, none of them excluded national security. Yeah. So this suggestion that we got this wrong was just not the case at all. Now, I'm pleased that the government has actually listened, yet again, to its backbenchers, and it's brought forward a manuscript, it is a monumental manuscript amendment. But if it wasn't for the pushing from these benches and those, I don't think we would even be there now.
I thank my right honourable friend for giving way. Isn't it shocking not only that the Prime Minister appointed Peter Mandelson knowing his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, but even today the Prime Minister has sought to deflect, cover up and bring in an amendment so as not to answer questions he must now answer.
My honourable friend is just so right, and I'm going to come to that a little bit later, because this is the core of this debate, isn't it? It's the fact that we want answers. There are huge questions about the judgment of the Prime Minister about his appointment of Mandelson. Both sides have talked a lot about the victims, and that is so right. But it's important that if we're standing up for the victims, and we're standing up for the people that put us here, because we should never forget that, we need to ask the questions and we deserve the answers. And we, on this side of the House, will continue to keep asking those questions, because that is what the public and the victims deserve. They deserve transparency. They deserve accountability. Now, earlier I spoke as part of an intervention about the vetting process, and I'm not an expert on this at all, but it does seem strange to me that Peter Mandelson didn't appear to be, I would say, arguably fully vetted. He just went through strange sort of vetting or piece of paper checking process.
Yes. I thank my right honourable friend for giving way. Does she agree with me that the public are sick and tired of people who appear to fail upwards in public life simply for the reason that they appear to move in the right circles?
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. And I will share with this House today, I never set out to be a politician. I never in a million years expected to stand or sit on these green benches. But I did it to stand up for my local community because I felt that they needed a voice. I might not get everything right, none of us do. But one thing that I will do is strive to be a voice for those people that put me in this place, and let none of us ever forget that. So just back to vetting, what I would really like the Minister to explain to us is, did Peter Mandelson go through the exact same vetting process that a normal diplomat would if they were going to take up that post in Washington? The role of the UK ambassador to US is one of the most important roles within our Foreign Office. Yes.
Is not the answer to my honourable friend's question about vetting, can she foresee a circumstance where a professional diplomat would be given clearance if they had sold passports and taken undeclared loans?
Yeah, absolutely.
My right honourable friend makes a really important point there, because this is about probity, and this is about evidence and making sure, for the reputation of this country, that we are appointing the right people. And yes, I declare I once was a member of that service, but I know that the people that serve our country as diplomats are of the highest integrity, and they have my trust. But when it comes to making political appointments, as today has shown, there are still questions that need to be asked. The other thing that is rather strange, Madam Deputy, is that everyone seemed to know that there were questions around Peter Mandelson. There were questions about the sort of person that he was. I think he was featured on Spitting Images once, wasn't it, as the Prince of Darkness? And yet, where was the Prime Minister? Where was his judgment? Was his head stuck in the sand? We on this side of the House, we are aware that the Prime Minister has been glowing about the talents of Peter Mandelson. Only in February, he said at the British Embassy in Washington, Peter is the right person to help us work with President Trump and take the special relationship from strength to strength. We are aware that Morgan McSweeney, Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff, pushed for Mandelson to become ambassador, sidelining long-serving, experienced diplomats. We are aware that Keir Starmer assured MPs that full due process was followed.
Honourable Lady, make sure that she refers to the Prime Minister as the Prime Minister, please.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I was getting a bit carried away there. The Prime Minister assured MPs that full due process was followed regarding his appointment of Peter Mandelson as ambassador. And we're aware that he appointed Peter Mandelson despite it already being in the public domain that Peter Mandelson had discussed issues relevant to his ministerial position with Jeffrey Epstein while Epstein was in jail. And I could go on. Why? Why did the Prime Minister choose to ignore all of that? And at a time when we know in this place, I think on both sides of the House, that the public are often scathing of politicians. They'll say we're all the same. We are not all the same, I can assure you of that. But they question us, they question our motives, they question our integrity. Some will even refer to us in this place as members of the establishment, something that I will always rail against. But I can absolutely see why they may say that. They mock on the other side of the benches. But the point here is about integrity. Of course.
My honourable friend is making a really serious and important point, and she made a point about how she ended up in this place, and I don't think anyone should denigrate her for all the hard work she's done to achieve what she has.
I'm grateful to my honourable friend, but after a while you just get used to that sort of thing when you've been here for a while. The point is here that we should never forget the people outside. We should never forget the Nolan principles. Members on this side of the House have explained, which perhaps I think was needed to certain members on the other side, the importance of the Nolan principles and what they are. So I would urge the government to do the right thing.
Honourable friend.
Yes.
I thank my right honourable friend for giving way, and she quite rightly talks about trust and trust in politics, trust in politicians. But the issue here is that the Prime Minister put blind trust in a proven liar. So much trust that he was willing to forego process, forego judgment to appoint him to one of the top diplomatic roles in the country. Why does my right honourable friend think that the Prime Minister showed such a lack of judgment, such misplaced trust? And why is it this country who's been proven on the international stage to be the laughingstock because of it?
Well, that is exactly the point. I don't think it's for me to answer those questions. I think it's for the Prime Minister to answer those questions. But I personally will continue to question his judgment. How on earth did he appoint Peter Mandelson to this role? But it's not just me, Madam Deputy Speaker. It's not just people on these benches that are questioning it. Today, we've heard from members of the Labour government benches who are also raising questions. Yeah. And the benches are quite full now, but it's been this side of the House that has been leading the charge on this topic. On so many opposition debates, I would expect to see those benches of the government full.
Yeah.
Full, taking the charge and debating back to us, defending the position of their government. Have we seen that? Very little indeed.
I thank my right honourable friend for giving way. Aside from the evident, persistent and consistent failure in the Prime Minister's integrity, doesn't this demonstrate massive questions over the hold that someone whose name for the last 2 or 3 decades has been a byword for sleaze has over the government and people at the top of the Labour Party?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It absolutely beggars belief. And if we want to clean up politics, then this sort of thing should not be being allowed to happen. Politics is a difficult place, we know that, but this was down to judgment.
Yeah.
It was down to the judgment of one person, or was it the judgment of others around that person? So I urge the honourable and right honourable members on the Labour benches opposite, do the right thing this evening. Stand up for democracy, stand up for Parliament, and stand up for decency.